Okay. Hey, Anaf. How are you feeling? কি অবস্থা?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So I wanted to kind of start this off with তোমার personally use করা everyday life. What's your favorite product?
The product I use on a daily basis, যেটা আমার একটু পরে পরে ওপেন করা হয়, ফোনে বলেন, ডেস্কটপে বলেন, ল্যাপটপে বলেন, দ্যাটস গুগল কিপ। বিকজ আমি ওখানে আমার সব নোটস রাখি অ্যান্ড ওইখান থেকে ডিরেক্ট গুগল ক্যালেন্ডারে ট্যাগ করি। অ্যান্ড এই প্রোডাক্টটা মানে আমার সবচেয়ে লং লাস্টিং ইউজড অ্যাপ, বিকজ আই হ্যাভ মানে স্টপড ইউজিং ফেসবুক ইভেন, কখনো কখনো ইউটিউব ইভেন, never stopped using that because it's a good note taking app and it's very easy, very easily accessible, easy app. So এটা আমার সবচেয়ে favorite product.
Now let's imagine that you are the product manager for Google Keep. What would you improve about the product?
So
try and mention three things.
Okay, three things. First one, I would like to improve the UI because the UI is too much cluttered right now. When you create notes, either you can pin it or you can just keep it there and this will go under and the pin notes will stay up. So I keep pinning notes and I have 1,000 pinned notes and 10,000s of unpinned notes. So when I have to see the unpinned notes, I'll have to literally search in the toolbar to find my unpinned notes. So that's a hassle. Like if I can easily tag them down, then that would be better. There is an option for tag, so I would like to simplify this. Like Google Keep hasn't been touched by Google for at least 5 years, I think, because for the last 5 years I've been using it and the UI and the other stuff is exactly the same. So I think Google is not exactly focusing on this product, or that's why I would like, if I am the product manager of Google Keep, I would like to do that. And the next thing is I would like to input some stuff in the back end, like I would like to put features like mind mapping, like collaborative tools. This would be very helpful. And the third and final thing is I would like to create collaborative workspaces where people can actually sign up. Like for reference, I'd like to say Notion has a free collaborative space for up to 5 people, and the upfront pay is very low if you want to upgrade. And even Notion has a redeem codes. Like if you sign up with your mail, if you install the desktop app, if you install the mobile app, if you install the web clipper, you get $5 on your Notion credit. So you can buy premium stuff with that credit as well. And yeah, so if you buy Notion free and use it for 3 months, then after that you can literally go for another 6 months premium with just the stuff Notion gives you. So I think Notion has done this pretty well. That's why they're growing so fast. I think Google Keep can use that too, and Google can do that in a blink of an eye because they are so much bigger and so much powerful.
So what I'm hearing is that you'd add a bunch of collaboration features, mind mapping. You mentioned mind mapping, and maybe improve the UX as well. And finally, I think you talked about Notion and how Google can kind of add features that make Notion so special. Okay, so I was going to ask you, if you were to build a mind mapping feature on Google Keep, how would you kind of go about building that on high level?
So do I have to explain the backend stuff where I have to collaborate with developers on building that, or?
No, I think you can kind of stick to product design. How would you start designing the product? Where would you start, and how do you?
This is a totally new feature, right? This is a totally new feature. So I'll have to check with the business team, the design team, the development teams, so that they're all on board. So the best way to do that is design sprints. And I'll start a design sprint. I'll do the stuff up, some stuff up front, and I'll just go with the team. I'll bring the people who are good in mind mapping. Like Google has other stuff where they do stuff like mind mapping, but not exactly they call it mind mapping. So I can bring in chunks of code from there, pull out sources from other stuff from Google where they can help me, and I'll just do all this stuff in the design sprint. And after the design sprint, I'll just go to the feature, building the feature.
Got it. Okay, nice. Okay, ঠিক আছে. So now I'm just going to give you some feedback on what I thought of the answers that you for the first 2 questions provided. So firstly, I would just, before going into, I would build these 3 features to make Google Keep better, I would kind of say this is the problem, this is the solution, and this is how, or this is how I'd go about it. Now, this is the problem, that Google Keep, I can't really collaborate with any other person. But then, the question is that really a tool for collaborating with other people? Or is it a
Yeah.
note-keeping tool? I've
Mm.
used Google Keep as well, and I would kind of lean towards, Google Keep is actually a list tool that does, I personally keep shopping lists and different checkboxes on Google Keep, and it's very easy to actually share with people. Whereas something like mind mapping is more of a whiteboarding kind of
Yeah, yeah,
feature, and
yeah.
in my mind, I don't associate mind mapping with Google Keep. Google Keep is like the one-stop, quick note app at the moment, and I don't know. I feel like Google has already created whiteboard on Google Meets, and there are a few other
Jamboard,
experiments
Jamboard.
with
And they're collaborating in
Google
Myra as well.
mind mapping. Yeah, Miro. Yeah. So Miro. So that's one whole aspect, and then the second thing is okay. You mentioned UI UX. I would just be a bit more specific as to what UI UX difficulties you're facing now and how you propose to solve them. So, for example, I think Google Keep does a good job of keeping pinned posts at the top and color coding them, and just making them really accessible. I think they do a better job than let's say Evernote. I used to use Evernote a lot. Then I shifted to Google Keep for day-to-day just quick notes. But I would encourage you to be a bit more specific when you're talking about UI UX improvements.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I think if I had to kind of answer that piece about Google Keep, I would start with Google Keep is known to be X, right? It's known for short form note keeping, let's say. It has UX problems which prevent it from, let's say, setting up reminders, because short form note keeping, I need reminders to be sent like every week to get my groceries, something like that. I want you to be very specific about where its shortcoming is. And then you could say, I want to make the reminders part a lot better by having, let's say, custom notification sounds or, something specific that would improve that problem.
Yeah.
And then lastly, maybe if you could speak a bit about technical side, but it's not required. So for example, you could kind of say in a lower technical effort way, I think we could do this. That's just an added bonus point that okay, you kind of have an idea of how it works on the back end.
Yeah. So if I want to correct it, I would like to say Google Tasks, there is another app a lot less used to Google Keep. But Google Tasks has some of the features that Google Keep misses out on. If you open Gmail, there on the right hand side there is Google Keep, Google Tasks, Google Calendar, and all of those things. Why not Google does the same things with Google Tasks or Gmail mobile app? So that's not done yet, and that will be very easy for them to do. So why not a sidebar that swipes? If you swipe, you can put notifications on your Google Tasks at the same time, so you don't have to scroll down to another app and do all the writings again or copy pasting it. So I think that can be done in an easier way, not really going to the back end and creating a whole lot of code, rather than using the same app on the using two apps at the same time on the same window.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. No further feedback. I think that went pretty well. I think you like this product and you know about it. I think you're a user of the product itself, so I think you could speak to it pretty well. How about we move on to a case study, which I can email to you 1 second,
Okay.
and you can kind of take a read. So open your Gmail and just check.
So this is the case.
Yeah. So Anav, how about we do this? Okay. So now let's do a quick case study, which will allot roughly 10 minutes for you to read this. Okay. So quick disclaimer: I want you to focus on not perfection, but utilize the 10 minutes to really think through this situation. This is very in a nutshell. This is a test of your data interpretation skills. Okay. Can you think of what metrics to actually measure and how would you measure them? So think about who you are in this situation and answer accordingly. Take roughly 10 minutes. It's 8:13 now. So take till 8:23-ish, and then we'll discuss. I would prefer if you put it on a Google Doc so that we can later review it together. And you can get started. Let's get started. Why don't you start with prompt one?
Okay, so in prompt one, I was asked to track down the most important metrics that we will track from our mobile app or what the user does. So the one thing we are focused on is uploading photos, right? So that's the most important thing in our app. The user uploads photos. So from the time a user signs up on our app, the next 48 hours would be the only thing that we will focus on is either whether the user uploads photos or not. The targeted amount of photos should be at least two, one of which is the profile picture of the user and the other is a random photo he wants to share on the site. So yeah, and this is the aha moment in this case. And number two is how many friends the user makes in 48 hours. I don't know the exact number of our users in total, so the number will be determined through research. Now prompt two, in prompt two I couldn't finish it. Okay, so here in prompt two, in the analytics dashboard, you asked how would I categorize or group your metrics. So the thing is, in case of categorizing the metrics, the first one would be there would be a lot of metrics actually, like how many users are signing up every day, how many users are uploading photos every day, how many users are actually sending a friend request every day, and how many users are accepting it. So in case of categorizing, I'll categorize the things like signing up properly, or like signing up and verifying your email and stuff. That's the basic stuff. And then uploading photos would be on the next category, like the user uploads the profile picture, the cover photo, or any random photo on the site. And the third would be making friends, adding comments. And finally, for the user growth, the user will be responsible for our growth and his growth himself, because he's here to grow as a on this photo sharing app. So when he uses hashtags, more people see their photos, and when more people see their photos, is finally adding to our growth. So so basically what I was going to say is, like, we have to open another tag where we'll have to see whether the users are communicating with each other using the hashtags and watching photos and stuff on the hashtags as well. So that's how I'm going to categorize my metrics. And finally, what would you do once you have launched your dashboard? So this is a question that I'm not exactly clear about, like my purpose in the team. So I think what I'll do when I've launched my dashboard is I'll try to get the metrics. I'll try to visualize the data on the dashboard, and I will send out important insights and notifications or stuff to different teams for their growth and the betterment of the app. That's what I'm going to do.
Okay, I think that went pretty well. I would just so my feedback on this is one, on prompt one, you mentioned a few metrics. I think you mentioned four with regard to creating profiles, signing up, creating profiles, uploading photos, and maybe one more. What was the last one?
Oh yeah, photos is the last one.
Oh, okay.
So, friends, making how many friends in 48
friends.
hours?
Right,
Yeah.
right. So okay, so those are all on the money. On a good response, I've usually seen roughly 10 or so responses, or 10 metrics-ish. And how people have cleverly done that is, because you're short on time, right? Is taking up all of these key features, listed here. So creating a profile, uploading photo albums. They've made all of those a metric to track. And they've made all of those a metric, and that gives you roughly, almost 10 features that, are metrics. And so that's one. And then with prompt two, I liked how you categorized it. I like the aha moment, and I don't think you've fully answered it. But here, what I was expecting was grouping it according to some framework. It would be just easy. So, for example, are you familiar with the R framework, Anaf?
I've heard about it, but not actually seen it or used it even.
Right. So it's not that the framework is everything, but the fact is that the framework is an easy way to measure the entire journey of the user. Okay, so it's activation, acquisition, activation, retention, referral, revenue. So it's an easy way to kind of manage for, okay, how many users am I acquiring? How are they, using my features and getting activated as real users rather than just signups? And then, okay, are they staying on the app? Retention, and then referrals. Are they tagging people and bringing people, new people into the app? And eventually, if you're trying to monetize the app, are they bringing in revenue? So grouping your metrics in terms of something like that would have been useful. And then the last part was, which I think you nailed, which was how would you use this dashboard once you've launched it? I think you were on the money there as well, in saying that, okay, once I have the metrics, I would then follow up, prioritize my features, follow up with different teams and stakeholders based on the insights that this dashboard is giving me. I think that was pretty good. So I guess a bit more on the metric side, and then using some sort of framework to categorize the different types of metrics would have been useful. But I would still say you did pretty well, all things considered.
Thank you so much, Bhaiya.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. So hopefully this was useful to you and other people as well. I know you have a real PM interview tomorrow, which hopefully you'll be able to ace. With that, I think we can call it a day. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Bhaiya. We'll see you.
Awesome, Anav. Good luck and thank you.